Hello, and welcome to the second episode of Behind the Yellow Tape Face to Face. So, welcome. We're so happy to have you, and I'm so happy to be here. So, this week's story is so crazy. I thought the D4VD case was wild, but I think that this is like running neck and neck. I'm not even going to lie to you. So, without further ado, let's get into it. A man disappeared in Florida, and investigators found his body buried in a shallow grave a month later. And when I say buried, I don't mean like somebody just digging a hole to hide a body. And even though that grave was shallow, according to the reports, there was concrete poured on top of the burial site. And then on top of that concrete was a black Cadillac. And then when they found his body under that concrete, they say that there was a zip tie around his neck. And then the woman that was accused of killing him was nowhere to be found. She was just, I guess, good at hiding. And she was in different states. She had different looks, and she also went by different names. So police initially started posting or exposing pictures of the lady's tattoos because they were under the impression that she was changing her appearance. And then people allegedly started helping her hide. And then one got arrested, and then another, and then another. So by the time this thing is over, 5 people have been arrested in connection with allegedly helping this lady stay away from the police. She's been to Florida, Georgia, Alabama, and the reward for turning this lady in got all the way up to $16,000. And the police were calling her a master manipulator. So 45 days into the manhunt, cyber investigators finally get a lead, and the U.S. Marshals start rolling in and they catch her. But this next part, I cannot make up because when they go to arrest this lady, you won't believe what was written on her shirt. It's her shirt read, "Forced to be reckoned with." Now, girl, now I know you guys are dying to know who this story is about. So let's jump right into the case of Isabelle Johnson and the murder of Jason Coulthart. But before we do, let's cue that intro. Welcome to Behind the Yellow Tape. I'm Mimi, and here we share some of the most spine-chilling, gut-stirring, mysterious crime stories that will keep you on the edge of your seat. So if mystery and crime is your cup of tea, then you'll definitely get your fill here. We upload every Wednesday at 6 o'clock p.m. Eastern Standard Time. If you love a midweek dose of suspense, whether from your favorite seat, the car, before bed, or during your favorite activity, then leave a like to help build the algorithm. Also, don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification bell so you don't miss an upload. Now, let's take a step behind the yellow tape. All right, so let's start from the beginning because there's a lot of people involved in this one case. So, Jason Christopher Coulthart was only 43 years old, and according to his family, he was a father and originally from New Jersey. And then on March 24th, 2026, he was reported missing. He had been last seen leaving some college condominiums in Niceville, Florida, and initially, this is what this was a missing persons case. So the questions were, where was Jason? Did something happen? Did he leave voluntarily? No one knows. But investigators start working the case, and eventually they start getting information that changes the direction of this whole situation. It's June 25th, and now we're about a month out from Jason's disappearance, and the investigators were led to a property off of Sunset Lane in Freeport, Florida. The investigators get a search warrant, and they go to the property, and they find his body under that concrete in that shallow grave. DNA confirmed that the remains did belong to Jason, and now the missing persons case turns into a homicide. And the crazy thing about the homicide is that he just wasn't like buried. Like the person who buried them, or him, put him in the grave and then put concrete on top and then parked the Cadillac on top. Genius idea, not the best idea. I don't think you thought it all the way through. So somebody didn't just try to allegedly hide the body, because it seems to be that there were many layers and levels involved in trying to conceal where the body was buried. Now, at this point, the investigators are starting to look at 38-year-old Isabelle Rose Johnson. And if you have not heard of that name, don't worry, you're not alone, because this story hasn't gotten enough traction or as much traction as some of the larger stories. But law enforcement knew who she was, and they did charge her and convict her with the murder of Jason Coulthart. Okay. But there was only one problem. They still can't find her, or couldn't find her. She was still gone. How? And apparently finding her was not going to be easy, because they said she was going by several different names, like Jessica Dowdy, Jessica Harley, Jessica Thrush, Jessica Bowman. So yeah, that just shakes up the barrel, I guess. So imagine trying to find somebody that's constantly changing their name and possibly their appearance, and possibly getting people to help them stay away from the police. So, according to authorities, Johnson was going around telling people stories that were designed to make them feel sorry for her, like different financial situations, different disparities, whatever she could think of. And investigators believe that those relationships were what helped her stay in front of the police. And law enforcement really believed that she had people helping her. And this is where the case starts getting bigger, because 5 people got arrested behind her. So the names were Michael Ray White, Kathleen Morris, Bobby Wagstaff, Martin Leverton, and Sandra Leverton. 5 people. So authorities have accused them of helping Johnson in Jason's killing. 5 people. I can't even get 5 people to help me in a bad time. And here you are with 5 people helping you stay in front of the police. No words. No words at all. Like, do they not know what she was accused of, or did they know what they were helping with? And did anybody know exactly, allegedly, what happened to Jason? These are so many questions. Like, are you willingly helping this lady knowing what she did, and you're just like, oh yeah, we'll help you, no problem? Because according to the authorities, everybody wasn't doing the same thing. Some people were helping with the shelter, some people were helping with the transportation, and some people were helping with just keeping her away from law enforcement. And according to authorities, the 5 people might not even be the final number, because they expect that there could possibly be more arrests than the other 5 people. So let's talk about Bobby Wagstaff for a moment, because according to a publicly reported arrest report, Bobby Wagstaff was actually Johnson's roommate, and that she allegedly helped bury Jason. Now, if they find out that that is true, this is a whole new level of involvement. Because this isn't just, oh, that's my friend, I let them sleep on the couch kind of thing. It's friend helping conceal a body kind of thing. And this is one of the reasons why I'm going to continue following this case as it moves forward in court. Because I want to know, what do the other defendants have to say? What does the law enforcement have on each individual person? And most importantly, what do those individuals have to say about Isabelle Johnson? Meanwhile, Johnson is still on the run, and investigators and authorities are believed to think that she was moving between Georgia, Florida, and Alabama. So law enforcement start putting more evidence and information out there, and they're basically saying she can change her hair, her looks, her name, and all the things, but there are some things that she cannot change: her tattoos. So then the police started releasing pictures of her tattoos, and she had a rose tattoo on her left hand, an ankle tattoo, and a large scorpion tattoo that started from her left buttock and went all the way down her thigh. And she also had a large tattoo on her back. So just think about how far this manhunt has gotten. The police aren't just like, here's a mugshot, call us when you see her. They're giving out the information about the body markings because they strongly believe that she could look different by the time the next person sees her. And the reward for turning this lady in keeps growing. It gets up to $16,000. You know what I could do with $16,000? And that was just for information leading up to her arrest. And the longer she stayed gone, the bigger the manhunt became. We're talking about a manhunt that stretched across 3 different states, 40 subpoenas, 20 search warrants, local law enforcement, cyber investigators, and then eventually U.S. Marshals. Whoa. Because what happened between those two that left Jason allegedly buried under concrete? And this is where I want to be careful. Because we have allegations and witness claims, but this case has not yet gone to trial. Johnson is accused of the murder, and that's not the same as being convicted of the murder. There has been a witness claim stating that there was an altercation between Jason and Isabelle because he was interfering with a case that was dealing with the custody of her children. So, people do not play about their children. I know I don't. I don't play about my kid. So this is something that we'll have to see proven in court. At this very moment, there are so many missing pieces to this puzzle. So we know Jason was found, and we know who authorities charged, and we also know that there were multiple people helping Johnson afterward. But what happened before Jason died? That is the question. The Walton County Sheriff's Office Cybercrimes Unit finds some information about Johnson's location. Now, this information leads them to a home near Cottondale, Florida. Deputies and members of the U.S. Marshal Task Force move in, and after the 45 days, 3 different states, multiple name changes, and multiple accomplices, and don't forget the $16,000 reward, they get her. Johnson was taken into custody without incident, and the Walton County Sheriff's Office basically posted the words that everybody involved in this case was waiting to hear. We got her. I have to revisit the shirt situation again because, ma'am, you're on the run. And the best shirt you could find, the picture of her getting arrested is so, I have no words, okay? But forced to be reckoned with, that's the best shirt that you could think of when you're on the run. Come on, ma'am. Come on. Now, Johnson has been arrested, but this case is far from being over because investigators are saying that this case remains active. So there are charges being placed, and there are going to be apparently more charges and actually possibly some more arrests happening. Uh-oh. And that is why I'm bringing you guys this case now, because we're catching it at a point where the manhunt ends and the court case begins. And so now we can finally move on from all the questions of where's Johnson and on to who knows what and who helped with what, because that is what I need to know. Because how are you out here helping somebody bury a body and you didn't know what was going on? And you had so many people. I also want to know, what evidence did the investigators collect with those 40 subpoenas and those 20 search warrants? I want to know what the cyber investigators found, and I also want to know what those 5 people who were in cahoots with Johnson have to say. And I also want to know, are they going to cooperate? Now that is the question. Are you going to keep this up? You've got in this far, so you might as well, right? And there's something I just don't want you to lose during all this craziness of this story, and that's Jason. Because when you start hearing U.S. Marshals, the body under concrete, the Cadillac, the alleged accomplices, U.S. Marshals, multiple identity changes, and the 3-state manhunt, yeah, it starts sounding more like a movie. But it wasn't a movie. It was a real life incident because Jason was a father, only 43 years old, and his family spent weeks not knowing where he was. And while everyone else gets to talk about how crazy this case is, we have to be mindful that Jason's family is the one grieving, okay, in this situation. And as we follow the arrest and eventually the court proceedings, I just don't want his name to disappear or get lost, focusing on the person that was accused of killing him. Now, I want to know what you guys think, because there's 5 different ways we can go with this case or about this case. So first, what do you think about 5 people helping one person evade the police? That for me is the mind-blowing part. How do you convince 5 people to help you? I can't convince 5 people to do anything. Most people can't. Secondly, I want to know more about the property because who had access to it and who knew the Cadillac was sitting there and how long was the Cadillac sitting there? And thirdly, I want to know exactly what investigators found with those 40 subpoenas and 20 search warrants because at that point, somebody was building something. And lastly, what actually happened between Jason and Isabelle? Because that's another big question for me. And also, are more arrests coming? All right, guys, so that's a wrap for now about this case. We'll keep you updated as everything progresses on. And if you haven't heard about this case before, don't be alarmed because a lot of times people are focused on the larger cases, but that's what we do here on Behind Yellow Tape. And this is why I wanted to cover this type of story because sometimes they get missed in between the big, broad boasting viral stories. So that's what we do here on Behind Yellow Tape. And also, if there's any time you want me to cover a story that you want to hear me speak about or see me speak about now that we're doing face to face, put it in the comment, okay? Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe and turn on that notification bell because we are doing this every Wednesday. So until next time, thank you for stepping behind the yellow tape with me. I'm Mimi. See you next week.